Hello and welcome back to the Birchal Podcast. My name is Emily Macfarlane. I'm your host today and I have the incredible Simi Rayat here with me. Simi is a published author. She's one of Australia's top leadership coaches. She is a business founder. She is a leadership and emotional intelligence expert. I don't even have time to go through all of the hats you wear. I'm so impressed, and it's such an honour to have you here on the show today, and I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you, Emily. I'm really looking forward to have a conversation today, and what a wonderful introduction. Let me just add to that list. I think one of the most important roles that I play is being a mum to two young, beautiful boys, and a very supportive husband as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's the real key part, is having a supportive partner who enables you to actually wear all these hats and do so many different jobs. Because honestly, looking at the list of your achievements, I've got to ask, where do you find the time? Where do you find the time? I don't even have the time to be an adult. I think about it all the time, you know, as a female as well. I can't just roll out of bed. I don't look like this. I'll be honest with you. This is a big mirage. And you're adding that into the mix of, you know, keeping the house tidy, trying to make money to keep a roof over your head, pay your bills, pay your taxes, keep healthy, drink enough water, get enough sleep. How do you do it?
I think we all try in our ways to do all of these things. You're absolutely right. Having a great support network around you, having a strong foundation at home allows me to thrive in what I do. And Emily, I love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. I don't see it as work. So sometimes, you know, I've got to really work hard to strike that balance to make sure I am spending that quality time with my family, my loved ones, and getting that balance with work as well, because I could just keep going and going. And, you know, your point around, you know, having a spotless house and all of this, I aspire to have a spotless house. Trust me, I really do. Like, just organisation and just things being in their place really fills me up with joy. But
me too.
Yeah, but honestly, it's not realistic. So I've really had to come to terms with the fact that, you know, not everything's going to be, and quite often, a lot of times, it's not going to be exactly how I want it to be. And I've just had to learn to let some things go, that it's not going to be quite right now, but it doesn't mean it won't be a bit later. And does it really matter?
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the time we're all part of this circus and you're trying to juggle so many balls, and you've got to figure out which ones are made of plastic and which ones are made of glass.
I love that.
So which ones can you drop and it's not going to matter?
Yeah.
And the ones that you do drop, which ones will matter? Which ones are going to smash to pieces when they hit the floor?
Absolutely. And I think when we get that right, like identifying which of those balls are the glass ones, the real precious ones, the ones of utmost importance, that's when we can really direct our focus, our energy, and prioritise accordingly. And the rest, you know what, we can't do it all at once.
How do you figure out which ones are made of plastic and which ones are made of glass?
I love that question. Thank you. So for me, I'm really clear on my why and my pillars. So I have 4 very key pillars in my world, and I can share those with you. For me, first and foremost, it's family. I really am wanting to make sure that whatever I do and whatever we do as a family, it leaves a footprint.
Okay.
It leaves a positive impact. I've got 2 young boys. I want to make sure that, you know, in the next 10 years as they grow to be adults, that, you know, they can look at and see the difference that collectively we've made. So family is a big pillar. Health and well-being is really, really important. I try to go to the gym every morning.
Wow.
Early morning for me, because I know that, one, it's the hardest thing, to be honest, that I do when I go. I go and do my cycle classes, my HIIT classes, and I break through my own barriers. And I know that if I've done that first thing in the morning, the rest of the day will be a breeze. The third thing for me is really making sure that I'm making time to connect with family, friends, people that I work with. It's all about doing work with people that you really enjoy spending time with.
Yeah.
So that connection is so, so important. It fills me up with joy and it fills my cup up. And then the final one is just that spiritual connection. I come from a Indian background. I follow, a spiritual path. For me, just being grounded and connected to that allows me to be connected when I'm with everyone around me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And for me, hearing about your top pillars in your life and what guides your decision making every day, I think it's probably something that really guides your advice that you give to leaders and founders and those people in your coaching. Is that kind of the first step in helping them to identify where their priorities should lie?
Yeah, look, it's one of the steps. I think you've really got to get clear on who you are first and foremost and get a real understanding of what's important to you and what really matters to you. Because when we recognise what matters to us, it makes us feel that what we are doing is important.
Right.
It adds value. It gives us significance. If we don't have significance, and significance is a human need and a human drive, if we don't have that, we feel lost.
Right.
We feel scattered. And in life, as you'll know it, Emily, we get pulled from left, right, and sent in all these different directions. If we can start our day just very much connecting with who we are and what our pillars are, it's so important.
Okay, so when you say that, starting your day with that and connecting with yourself and grounding yourself, how do you do that?
And I love that you've asked me this question because I'm very excited to share that my upcoming book is going to be released, set to be released internationally, and it's been published by Wiley, and the whole book is about this.
Huge, awesome.
It's about a formula, we call it the 5 Qs formula.
Okay.
And the formula is very simple, and what it does is it allows you to feel energized and be effective each and every day by only taking 5 minutes out of your day in the morning to prime your mind, your emotions, and your behaviours.
Okay. And how do you do that? Because I feel like this is something that I need to hear. 5 minutes for me sounds doable. You know, a micro habit that can really affect your day and affect your life going forward. You know, there's a statistic that, you know, these tiny little things that you do, you might walk just 10,000 steps a day, but that's 70 marathons a year. Yeah. Those kinds of things that, it all adds up. Can you walk me through this 5 minutes and how it can really change your day, your week, your month, your year, your life?
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right that it is those incremental accumulation of those 5 minutes that leads to something going from, you achieving something that's just ordinary to something that's extraordinary.
Right.
And we all have the capacity and potential to do that. And, the formula in itself is very simple. It's asking yourself 5 key questions.
Okay.
The questions will be shared in the book, but just to give you a high level, we start off by connecting with our emotions first and foremost.
Right.
So it's really important to, what I say, take your emotional temperature in the morning. In the book, you will learn how to take your emotional temperature. Very quick, simple, science-backed method that has proven to allow yourself to connect with how you're feeling. And it's so important because first and foremost, Emily, we're emotional beings.
Absolutely.
We all radiate energy and we all have a frequency of energy that we are emitting to others, whether we are aware of it or not. So starting your day by connecting with that emotional temperature is so important. We then move on to the formula, and the next part of the formula is about gratitude.
Okay.
And this it's very different to just writing a list of what you're grateful for. But the formula asks you to think about what inspires you. What are you really grateful for? Who are you very grateful for? Because they inspire you to be the best version of you.
Right. So almost like accountability partners as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
People that you look up to and you think, well, you know what, actually, it's a hard job being a parent. My kids drive me insane at times.
I bet.
But I'm actually so grateful because, although I try and, aspire to help them be the best versions of themselves, to be honest, Emily, they do that for me.
Okay.
They do that for me, and I'm so grateful. I've learned to become so patient. I surprise myself, my family, of how patient I've come because of them. Yeah. They've helped me become more connected to the here and now. Mm-hmm. And when we talked about the 4 pillars, they helped me realise what is really, really important.
Yeah.
The small joys, the micro moments.
Micro moments, I love that.
And if we start looking out for these micro moments in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day work and at home, it's, as you said, you accumulate all of those together and we start feeling really good.
Yeah.
We start feeling positive, we start feeling very productive, and we start to build a level of confidence within ourselves. That energy is so powerful because it not only charges us, but it charges everyone around us.
Yeah.
It has this ripple effect.
And I think that that's important not only in your home life, but in your work environment as well. I notice it every day. I work in a really small office with just a small handful of people. If somebody comes in and their energy's off for the day, you feel it. And I'm sure that this is something you speak to your clients about, as leaders. Them going into the office and coming in with a poor energy is going to affect the energy of everybody that they work with, and that's going to have a ripple effect.
Massively. And, in the book I share the concept of, are you a radiator or are you a drain?
Ooh, okay.
Are we someone who is emitting that real positive energy that is upbeat and it gives everybody else energy? Mm-hmm. Or are we really being that person that's sapping and draining that energy?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, being aware as even if you're in a small team, it doesn't matter about leadership status. To me, leadership is not about status or title. It's about being aware of the impact that your presence has on other people.
Okay. That's a really great point. Really is. And I'm sure that you'll relate to this. I find that I'm often a sponge for other people's energy and what they're putting out. And particularly if you're sitting near somebody who is just drying you up essentially and you feel like there's no inspiration there. And for a great leader, I can definitely sense that the times that I've been inspired by people in the workplace or just in my close environment, they're the people who fill you up.
Yeah.
For sure. So is that what inspired you to write the book, was your learnings that you've gotten by being a business coach?
Yeah, partly by being a business coach. So, working with leaders and managers from all different organisations, ranging from Fortune 500 companies, multinational, financial and professional service firms, but then also scaling organisations.
Yeah, right.
So, a whole range of complex environments. But at the same time, I found that it comes back down to the individual person, the individual leader and the manager. How can they best show up themselves to be and to have the best impact that they can have on their business and people around them?
Okay.
So I was partly inspired by my clients. I also went through my own personal challenges, Emily. We've migrated as a family 3 times from England to Melbourne, back to England, back to Melbourne.
Oh my goodness. I hate moving as is. I can't even imagine moving countries that many times.
I've started 2 businesses, sold one, my first business, became a mum of 2 children. And at the same time, I was trying to figure out myself.
I thought you were going to say when you would find some time to sleep.
That as well.
How do you do this?
I woke up, we were in London, we were in Chiswick, and from an external perspective, it looked like, we had it all.
Yeah.
The family, the thriving business, we were travelling, we were doing a lot of things, we were enjoying life. But I remember looking out of the window one morning and I actually felt a darkness inside of me, and I actually felt a bit hollow.
Okay.
And I'd been feeling it for a while, and I had to ask myself that question, and I knew it was a question that my clients ask of me, and I was scared to ask it of myself. And that question was, am I surviving or am I thriving?
Great question.
And I had to admit to myself that I actually was just surviving.
Right.
And it really, really pained me to admit that and to acknowledge that to myself. Because, from a very young age, I knew I wanted to get into psychology. I'd always been like a nosy child wanting to know about people, what they're up to, what drives them. And I was always inspired by my mum, who's very entrepreneurial. She was a fashion designer, set up an amazing bridal couture business.
Wow.
I used to help her with that when I was 16, 17 years old. So I had this entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, and I wanted to be able to connect the two. So I, found that, wow, I could actually have a living, create a living and a career in helping people realize their own leadership potential by combining psychology and leadership together.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I studied.
Amazing.
But then, I'm there in my mid-30s in Chiswick in London looking out the window, and I'm actually really disappointed in myself that I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
I'm not thriving. And that's what then inspired me to think about, well, okay, I need to, one, accept this. Two, I need to now do something and change. Mm-hmm. So I started to look out there for all these, I think I was looking for the silver lining, these ideas or tricks and tips to be able to set myself up to thrive.
Okay.
And I started to research and talk to my clients, try and understand what do they do to set their morning routine up for success. People were telling me all these different things, that they do exercise, or yoga, or meditate, have their morning coffee, or check their emails and plan out what they needed to do for their day. All these kind of different activities. And then I realised that, hold on a second, I'm not coming across anything that I feel is a robust, reliable method or formula that allows you to set up your mind and your emotions and your behaviour up for success.
Okay.
That's when I came up with the 5 Qs formula. I started to develop it. Mm-hmm. The 5 questions, trialled and tested it with my clients. It was during the pandemic. My business, I got really busy. I was helping a lot of leaders and their organisations during that very tough time.
Yeah.
With their leadership, with their teams. And that's when I really tried and tested the formula, and we worked to see which of those questions really resonated and what psychological impact did it have on people's well-being, their confidence levels, and how much they got done in a day.
Okay.
So we found that by applying the 5 Qs formula, our clients were saying that they felt so much more intentional. They felt really energized, and they felt they were able to get stuff done and show up in the best way that they could for themselves, their family, and for work.
So it's like really having that key sense of purpose and knowing that that's what you need to return to anytime you're questioning yourself and what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
I feel like I need this book. Honestly, send me the first copy.
I will, absolutely. I would love to. I'm delighted to share it. And why I'm so excited, Emily, is because, one, I've seen that transformation in myself.
Yeah.
After applying the 5Qs formula for the last 4 years, the things that I've been able to achieve, the things I've been able to do, but even more than that, it's really helped me connect with my children,
Okay.
with my partner, and I feel that we're thriving. And I've seen my clients do exactly the same, and that for me is what brings me joy.
Yeah, it's just seeing the effect not only on yourself but those around you, for sure. And obviously you're taking a lot of key learnings that you've received from other professionals and leaders and individuals. Through your training, do you feel like that's something that comes up a lot, that, you know, you might be teaching somebody something but you're actually learning something yourself?
Oh my God, Emily, I learn from my clients all the time. And that's why I'm so humbled and privileged to do what I do, because although my clients, you know, feel they get a huge transformation, they experience a huge transformation when we work together, I experience a huge transformation from everyone I work with. I'm always learning something new, new ways, new experiences. And each and every day, I think you can learn from anyone who we meet if we are willing to be present, to connect, and to put ourselves in a space of looking to see how we can grow together.
Yeah, for sure. So working with so many clients across so many different businesses and backgrounds, what would you say are the most common mistakes that leaders make?
I think the common mistake, there'd probably be 3 big ones that come up. One is they are so busy being busy.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
And when I mean busy being busy, are they really doing high impact stuff that's going to make a difference? Or are they just busy because they're so used to doing things in a certain way? And often we get stuck in this whole busyness that, yes, by the end of the day, we have this massive long to-do list, but even when we get to the end of the day, we don't finish it and we feel overwhelmed. We feel pretty crap. And we feel that, oh my God, I've got to do all that again the next day. It's not energizing.
Yeah, of course. It's what you said, just surviving, not thriving.
Massively.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing, is that leaders often fall into a trap that busyness equates to them being successful or impactful, when actually, no, it doesn't. The formula in one of the questions gets you to identify what are your top 3 high impact things you're going to focus on in a day.
Okay.
This is not a long laundry to-do list. This is just 3 things of high impact. Once you've done those, wow, you're done for the day.
Yeah, anything extra is just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second thing is, I think leaders miss that opportunity to connect. So even if, you know, in a small startup, when you're working for your own, it can be really lonely.
Yeah.
Even when you're the most senior person in the organisation, as a CEO or as part of the C-suite, it's lonely.
It's lonely at the top.
It's lonely.
Somebody
at the
told
top.
me this the other day, actually.
Massively. I hear it from a lot of my clients when they say that, you know what, Simi, I don't have anyone just to talk to, offload, or just someone to check in on me.
100%. Nobody's checking in on the CEO, being like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? How's everything going? How can I help you? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. So I think we need to flip that script, and I think we need to think more about connection, human connection. Wherever possible, look at ways in your day that you can meet either new people or people that you know in your network that you haven't perhaps contacted or haven't had a conversation with for a while. Don't always make it about work. Let's lead in with the personal connections, get to know each other. And in that way, when we experience quality, positive connections in the day, the psychological research shows that it increases our well-being.
Okay.
increases how productive we are, and it increases our self-confidence, self-worth, and the concept I mentioned earlier around that sense of mattering. We matter, and we make other people feel that they matter.
Right. So you're kind of pushing away from that BAU, business as usual.
Yeah.
Just to take the time in your day to recenter, understand what is important and the priorities there.
Yeah.
So good.
The third thing that I think is very, very important as well is because we get so busy doing everything we need to do, and by the end of the day we're exhausted, we miss a significant, important opportunity just to take 5 minutes to reflect on the day. And if we just took 5 minutes to reflect on a day and ask ourselves those simple questions of what worked well today, what could I have done better, what did I learn about myself today?
Oh, good one.
Yeah. These little bit of insight, these moments of insight that we are allowing ourselves to experience allows us to get to know ourselves better, but it helps us to then think about how we want to just change one or two things to have even just a 1% better impact the next day.
Yeah.
And it's within those micro moments, if you look at your day and you just take that opportunity to recognise, that went well, or that went well and I could have done this, or perhaps I could have taken a bit more time to spend with that person and really understand what was going on for them.
Yeah, okay.
It gives you an opportunity to reset. And I think that if we as leaders and managers take that opportunity to reset at the end of the day, we are recharged and we're re-energized for the next day. We set ourselves up for even greater success.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it makes me think, is there a common theme for your clients when they come to you and they say, I have this problem, I need your help to fix it? Is there something that you hear time and time again that you need to correct or help guide them through?
Yeah, so common things that leaders will say to me is, I'm burnt out, I'm overwhelmed, my team don't seem to care.
Right.
My team are just not engaged. Simi, I'm just not having the impact and the influence that I know I can really have.
So they're not unlocking their potential, essentially.
Yeah.
And the potential of others in their team.
Correct. And they're just not having that, they're not getting that traction. And quite often that traction is because they're so busy doing the doing, we're not really finessing the how.
Yeah. That's so interesting, and I feel like I'm just sitting here nodding along saying, yes. It just makes so much sense, and I'm sure that people listening will just be saying, oh my gosh, of course, this is what I feel every day. How do you help leaders of teams, managers, CEOs, whatever it may be, how do you help them to inspire those in their team to want to work, to want to get results, and to feel passionate about what they're doing every day?
Quite simply, I help leaders become a joy to work for and with.
Great.
And by that, I mean that if people know that you care about them, that they matter, you do these small things in these micro moments that allow them to feel seen, heard, valued, and recognised.
Okay.
Those same people will move mountains for you and support you to achieve what you need to achieve.
That's amazing. And I feel like it's something that every manager could take on board and understand. And at the end of the day, you would hope that every manager cares about every person in their team. But I think it's the communication and taking the time out of your day to make them feel seen, heard, validated that is often the key missing piece. Do you find that you need to train these leaders in actually expressing themselves and their communication skills?
Yeah, and and I've been doing it for quite a while now. We have a science-backed formula framework that we equip leaders with to help them become more inclusive and help them become more of a joy to work for and with. And it's really interesting because it's the simple stuff. It's, you know, the acknowledging people, their contributions. It's about building people's visibility, using your networks or using your contacts to build visibility for people within your team. It's, you know, being really consistent around the behaviours that you reinforce.
Yes, I think consistency is super key.
And that consistency, Emily, builds trust.
Absolutely.
The moment we're not consistent, we start to lose people. I say that, you know, we all have a BS meter.
Yes, absolutely.
We can so sniff out, can't we, when someone's not being real with us and authentic and true to us. We sniff it out.
Absolutely.
And each time that happens, people then take a step away from us.
Right.
And as a leader, if we're consistent in who we are, our message, the behaviours that we stand for, the standards that we expect from ourselves and for those around us, that builds trust, because people start to know how they need to be and what they can expect from you.
Yeah, I actually felt like I was about to finish your sentence in my own head then, and it's about expectation management, you know.
Yes.
So that somebody from your team can come to you, say, I have this problem, and you know that you can fix it for them. Like that, I think is super key, is the trust element for sure.
And, you know, it's not even that they're coming to you for you to fix the problem, but just so that they're coming to you knowing that they can say, Emily, you know something, I'm actually struggling with this. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Because quite often, you know, we hire smart, intelligent people for a reason.
Yeah.
They know how to get to where we need to get to. They have the answers. But what they need is that confidence from their leader and the manager, and they also need to know that what they do matters and their leader and their manager has their back.
Yeah, of course.
When you have those things in place, when someone really truly feels that in their heart of hearts, and it's something that's got to be felt, Emily, it's not just lip service.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I have leaders say, oh, but Simi, you know, I always tell my team my door's open, they can come and talk to me anytime. I'm like, do they come? It's like, no, they don't come. I'm like, why do you think they don't come? Because it's not about just saying it, it's about immersing yourself. Go and sit with them. Go and say, let's go for a coffee.
Yeah, it's just taking the time out of your day.
Yeah. So it's not just a set time that you're available. And I often find this with parents and children. You know, often we think that our children are just going to come and talk to us when we've got time. Or, you know, we've got time now, let's talk about your day. And quite often they don't want to talk then. When do they want to talk? They want to talk when you're spending time with them.
Yeah.
You're you're playing with them, you're out for a walk or you've taken them to the park, and that's when you start to hear everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if, obviously you've had quite a long-standing career now, were there particular times in your career that have really shaped the advice that you give now, whether it be mistakes you've seen, people who were leading you when you were in a team or when you were leading a team?
I love that you asked that question because I share many anecdotes in my keynote presentations. So I was very fortunate that one of my first roles in the UK was for a government department, a large government department, the Department of Work and Pensions. And I had an amazing manager. In fact, I reference her in the book as well,
Amazing.
You know, because she really did make me feel seen, heard, and valued. And that was simply by asking me what I wanted, to get from the role. It was also checking in on me. I had left Leeds at the time. I was living in Leeds, my family home, and I moved to Manchester. And it was the first time I'd, left my family home for work. I'd studied away, but this was for work.
Yeah.
And I would miss family and friends. And, Leeds and Manchester, for those of you not familiar, it's not very far. It's an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
And now I'm sat in Australia, 7 oceans away from my family. But, at that time, it just really meant a lot to me that this manager, Alison, really was invested in me, what was important to me, and she opened doors. It was amazing. I was able to get my chartership as an organisational psychologist in 2 years. It normally takes 5 years.
Wow.
Because of the opportunities that she was able to get me in front of.
Okay.
Which was incredible. Then I wanted to get into the public, move from the public sector into private consulting. So I joined a really leading consulting firm, psychology consulting firm. I had a manager there that, lovely person, but you would never see him. He would come into the office, close his door. The team wouldn't hear from him. You wouldn't know what was going on. Whenever you did something well, it wasn't acknowledged. Other leaders and managers in the business were acknowledging, the things that were happening, and that was great. But I was really longing for this acknowledgement from this manager.
Yeah, I bet.
And I didn't get it.
That's so hard.
And they went through a redundancy process. It was in 2009 when the GFC hit. And, I was one of the fortunate ones to have stayed. But soon after that, we decided for our own personal reasons, my husband and I, that we were migrating to Australia. I'm still in contact with the organisation. In fact, I do some work for the organisation here in Australia. But I gave this feedback then, and I still stand by it now. A leader and a manager makes a huge difference to your commitment and to your engagement to an organisation and the work that you do. And I feel that, whatever paths I've taken, these experiences have given me lessons to learn. And I knew that I had that experience of a leader and a manager making me feel seen, heard and valued, and how it helped me thrive. Then I also had the opposite.
Yeah.
So now I can really relate to others when they come for coaching or when I'm delivering presentations, to share stories that people can connect and relate to.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, your staff are the driving force behind your business, and staff retention is huge in terms of the success of your business. It's expensive to replace staff. It's time consuming.
Yeah.
And you truly don't know whether you're getting a great new staff member or someone who's going to suck energy from your team.
Absolutely. And Emily, business is about people. People do business with people. People stay in organisations because of their leader or their manager. And so from an attraction perspective, if you're looking to attract really good talent into your organisation, we need to really make sure that the leaders are treating their people really well. There is a culture of mattering, of belonging.
Yeah.
Because when that's there, that in itself is your best advertisement and branding to get more talent into the organisation. And you'll know that, we all share a story of something that didn't go well or a bad experience. It spreads like wildfire.
Everybody talks.
Everyone talks. And, if we're really taking this, if we really want to take business in a way, when I say seriously, I mean in a way that we want to make an impact.
Yeah.
These relationships have got to be impactful. They've got to be reciprocal. They've got to be mutually respectful, regardless of whether you're a manager or an employee, a subordinate, a colleague, a peer. the more that we can think in this way, I really believe that people will stay because they are committed and they're engaged to do their best.
Yeah. So essentially what you're saying is leaders should be looking at their business twofold. So obviously you've got the business unit, but then you've got the people. And if you don't have the people, you don't have the business.
Yes.
And if they're leaving on a consistent basis, you're not looking at the people who are leaving, you should be looking at yourself as a leader.
And it all starts with that. You know, if you're looking to create a culture, if you're looking to attract people into your organisation, first and foremost, look at who you are as a leader. If you're looking to create a brand that people are going to aspire to want to work for and help you achieve what you need and want to achieve, start by looking at who you are as a leader.
Yeah.
Because people, you know, and I say this when people are going for promotions or they're looking to advance their career and take, you know, a new role in an organisation, I always say to them, one, treat that interview process as a two-way process. You're getting asked the questions, but also you ask the questions. What is the leader like that I'll be reporting to? How do they deal with stress? How do they manage conversations that are of conflict or negative feedback? How approachable are they? Start asking the questions, because the leader that you report to or you work to needs to be someone that you hold in high regard, walks the walk, and is with you, alongside you. You can connect with them.
Yeah, because I think it can hold you back. If you're going into a business where the leader isn't inspirational to you and isn't going to be a guiding light, that in turn will shape your career either positively or negatively.
Yeah.
And it's the learnings that you can take. So as a leader, you really want to be encouraging your staff to grow, engage, and really connect with the business as a whole, because it will grow your business.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting. I recall a story, an experience of a client who was working for a startup. Now, this was a startup that was looking to accelerate quickly. Great business concept. You know, it's a great business concept that they have. But the leadership in this business, it was appalling. To the point where one of the leaders would, you know, shout at the employees in a meeting, or even on the phone would raise their voice to a tone that was aggressive.
Wow.
And, you know, they were expecting people to work these long hours. This is an Australian company. They were expecting people to work long hours, give their blood, sweat and tears for this organisation to grow, to achieve their mission. And, you know, it got to a point where people were leaving.
No wonder. People
were leaving. They were burnt out. They were overwhelmed. They felt unsupported. It was a toxic environment. And I've seen people leave this organisation. Now, people talk. You know, people have shared their stories. It was like that for you. That's exactly what I felt. That's not a nice experience to go through.
Yeah.
For the employees that are working there. It's also not great for the leader, because the leader inadvertently is derailing their reputation and their leadership impact.
100%.
And that's where I feel that when leaders are not aware of how they come across, how they can best lead their team, they don't take the time to get to know their people, tailor their style, that's when it struggles streets completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key takeaways from everything that you've said today is relationships, people. This is everything to a company. If you were to leave listeners on one final piece of advice to really up the ante for them and up their professional game, what would it be?
So I think one is the 5 Qs formula. You become really familiar with that. But the last question of that formula asks you, how do you want to show up today? So I would really encourage your listeners to get into a habit of asking that question. How do I want to show up today? Because what we then do is we consciously and intentionally connect with the impact that we want to have and the ripple effect that we want to have on everyone else around us. And it can act as a consistent reminder of, yeah, I want to show up in this way. So these are the behaviours that I want to demonstrate, and this is how I want to conduct myself. And I'm not saying that we all have to be saints. No, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to, drop the ball. We're going to become frustrated at times. Things are going to annoy us. We're human. And that's okay. But if we can keep reminding ourselves of how do I want to show up, I promise you, I can guarantee you, we will all have more of a positive impact. One, on ourselves. We'll feel more joyful because we'll be being the leaders that we want to be. And 2, we'll actually be a joy to work for and be around.
Thank you so much, Simi. I know for one, I'm feeling so inspired. I literally just want to go and write everything down because this has been so great, and I'm sure everybody will feel the same. And thank you so, so much for sharing the time and your invaluable insights. And I can't wait for your book to be released.
Thank you, Emily, so much for having me. It's been a real great conversation and a really lovely pleasure to be here with you.
Thanks so much, Simi.
Thank you.